After a tough loss to the Timberwolves, the Warriors got another shot just 2 days later at the same Chase Center. Steph Curry dropped 30 points and included a big bounce-back game from Buddy Hield, with both combining for 12 threes. I want to break down how the Warriors starting guards exposed the reigning Defensive Player of the Year in Rudy Gobert in multiple offensive actions, so let's get to it. Gobert is an all-time defender, especially in the regular season, but as we know, there are definitely ways to minimize his impact. With McDaniels sticking to the body of Steph, Draymond Green goes for a dribble handoff action for Steph to attack with a strong right hand. This handoff also acts as a screen, so when Curry comes around, McDaniels is left chasing behind as Draymond's defender in Rudy Gobert is in a drop coverage. Steph could pull up, but knowing he's got the lanky McDaniels behind him, Steph stays patient with his dribbling here before finally faking a shot attempt to draw Gobert out, then dropping a beautiful bounce pass back to Green for an uncontested layup. Here's a fancy motion action that worked extremely well. Green has the ball up top, then swings it to Kuminga, and Steph comes from inside the paint to set a back screen on Buddy Hield's man. Because Conley gets lost on the pick, McDaniels points to Conley to switch so he can deny the cutting Buddy Hield. The next action is for Steph to curl off a Draymond down screen, and I want you guys to notice the difference between a much better and longer defender in McDaniels maneuvering around the pick and a smaller Conley that gets stuck. Green's defender in Gobert is predictably in another drop coverage, and by the time Steph catches the ball, Gobert is coming up way too late. Easy catch and shoot by the GOAT shooter. The Warriors just have so many different counters as long as their passes don't become turnovers. With slow-mo bringing the ball up, Looney sets a screen on Alexander Walker to try to free up Steph. Rudy Gobert realizes that he just got a three-pointer popped in his face, so this time he shows up much higher to prevent the jump shot. Golden State now has a 3-on-2 advantage on the backside with Gobert's man in Looney cutting, so Steph counters Gobert's high coverage by lobbing a pass to Loons. DiVincenzo is the weak side low man guarding a shooter, and this rotation is slightly late, not that it really matters due to his size, and Steph gets the assist. Way to expose Gobert by getting him out of the lane. I want to break down this play by showing the lack of intuitive defensive rotations. With Gobert guarding Draymond, Dante is trying to be physical with Curry by denying him the ball. So Steph counters by backdoor cutting, getting a nice bounce pass by Green which forces Minnesota into rotations. Naz Reid correctly rotates over as the weak side low man, with Mike Conley dropping from the wing to try to X out to the perimeter. The first pass goes to the corner, allowing the McDaniels to rotate to the swing pass, but look who's open all by himself at the top of the three-point arc, it's Buddy Hield. And do you know who's responsible for that rotation? Rudy Gobert, who is the first point of attack defender on Draymond Green. However, even though that is technically the correct rotation, it's just not in Gobert's nature to sprint out to the shooters since he is most effective in the paint. This forces Naz Reid to rotate all the way from the restricted area as the first low man, but Buddy hits an open three anyway. Steph is putting him in circles here. Off a made bucket, Steph brings the ball up and surveys the floor. If you're a true Warriors fan, you know Steph loves to attack the big man in transition, often using them even as screens on their own team. But here Draymond sets a super high pick and roll, forcing Gobert to come up high to show 25 feet away from the basket to prevent the pull-up three. Easiest way to counter as a guard is to simply use your speed to get by the big man, and it becomes an uncontested layup. I'm not going to get into any controversial Rudy Gobert DPOY debates. I'm just here to break down simple pick and roll actions. High pick and roll with Steph and Draymond, and McDaniels predictably goes over the screen and Gobert comes up high to show. The problem is, if you're going to show up high as the screen defender, you just cannot get beat. Steph's defender in McDaniels is already trailing, and Curry again uses his dribbling and speed to run circles around Gobert, then decelerates and uses his body to draw contact from behind for an and-one layup. To end the first half, I want to break down a play that shows again the miscommunication of the Minnesota defense and Gobert's preference to rather stay in the paint. Draymond's on a fast break and Rudy's picked him up. You can't see Steph yet, but he's all the way behind the logo with McDaniels currently denying him full court. Draymond Green is so crucial to this team because of these high chemistry pick and roll or handoff actions between him and Curry that happen naturally. Green isn't even looking to attack the rim, but is looking to run a dribble handoff action with him facing the other basket. You really don't ever see this ever run anywhere else. However, at the same time, if you guys paid attention to the T-Wolves, apparently there's been some rift between Randle and Gobert, especially communication issues. When Looney sprints to the paint, Gobert actually sees this DHO action happening and points to Randle to pre-switch so he can guard the perimeter as the more mobile big man. Does not matter though, as Steph gets wide open off the screen with both Minnesota big men in the paint and cashes in this three. Even ending the third quarter, like I said earlier, if you watch Steph Curry his entire career, he loves to use opposing slower big men as unintentional screeners on their own team. Here, Nickeil Alexander-Walker has his eye on Curry at the half-court line. Instead of attacking him, Steph looks at Gobert and drives left, almost allowing Gobert to screen Alexander-Walker out of the play. With a couple seconds left, Gobert is sliding laterally as if he needs to guard the rim. All Steph needs to do is sidestep a bit for space and launching the buzzer-beating 35-footer. Here's another pick and roll with Steph and Looney. Gobert is pretty high to show and McDaniels goes under the pick since the action is 30 feet away from the basket. Notice how Curry dribbles to the right slightly more to drag Gobert further from the roll man Looney before sliding a nice bounce pass back to him. Now there's a 2-on-3 advantage on the backside, and this is supposed to be Donte DiVincenzo rotation as the help as the weak side low man, but he's guarding the red hot shooter in Buddy Hield and cannot leave him. Looney has an easy dunk. Let's get a simple Buddy Hield action. Nothing fancy here on the weak side while Draymond Green comes to set a down screen on Hield. Anthony Edwards tries to guard the shooter well here by staying in a top lock position, discouraging the usage of the screen. But Ant just cannot get this easily jab step because Green's man and Gobert is just not going to come out to switch. Ant is now 2 steps behind chasing the shooter and Buddy Hield drains a big rhythm catch and shoot. These scramble plays are kind of funny to break down. Draymond finally picks up the ball and is looking to pass, obviously. Gobert initially plays off of him and drops down, but when he realizes that Green is about to run a handoff action with the shooter, he comes back up to defend a potential 3. The problem is, Buddy Hield recognizes that McDaniels is trailing right behind him, so he keeps curling and gets a step on Gobert. This is decently well contested, but somehow Buddy is able to get this layup over the shot blocker. There you guys have it, a bounce back win against a tough Minnesota team with the starting 2 guards finally having a great shooting game together. Steph Curry and Buddy Hield combined for 12 threes while exposing the defensive limitations of the reigning Defensive Player of the Year in Rudy Gobert, especially on the perimeter. The Splash Cousins predicted multiple Gobert drop coverages and countered him playing higher by using their speed to get past the slower big man and get in the lane for higher percentage shots at the rim. Buddy finally had a bounce-back game after struggling with his shot recently, while Steph, who had been in and out of the lineup with injuries, contributed significantly as well. This was a big win considering the recent losses for Golden State, but shout out to the full team effort and especially Draymond Green, who always takes it personally against Gobert and was essentially setting screens and creating advantages for the 2 shooters. Hope you guys like this breakdown and like and subscribe to see more.